sour figs, and some medicinal plants. In Xhosa we call it Ngwabeba. It's very good for cleansing. I'm sure you're also familiar with this one. It's a medicinal herb, Matitibala.
Matitibala.
Yes. If you notice, there's not much commercial veggies growing. It's mostly the wild foods, because most of our commercial crops, they were eaten by the goats. I came here after being evicted in Khayelitsha, at a place that I was renting at in 2020, and I came looking for space by the committee of this farming community, and eventually, after a lot of resistance on their side, they managed to allocate the space for me. And my vision in the beginning was to create a nursery so that I could sell some seedlings to some of the local farmers in the community. But that developed into the idea of growing my own medicines and focusing mostly on medicines because of the water challenges that I had at the time. I didn't have a borehole like I do right now. So, and I also didn't have any running municipality water for my own consumption. So I had to quickly get rid of the idea of a nursery because a nursery needs a lot of water. And I focused mostly on medicinal plants and wild foods because of seeing the need during COVID, how a lot of people were struggling with illnesses and diseases that were curable, and that all were mostly stemming from malnutrition. I used the knowledge that I got from my dad and the knowledge that I grew up around in the rural areas to rather formulate my own training manuals and formulate my own trainings centered around food nutrition and also centered around medicinal plants that grow wild and easily in our communities that people can consume and use for health benefits. So you find when we got the space, it was quite wild. It looked like a forest. So when I had the vision of growing veggies, I came to the realization that if I grow veggies, this means I'm going to have to destroy the biodiversity that's already in this environment. And that didn't sit well with me because I wanted to conserve the area as much as I could in terms of how I found it. So that the only option of doing that was to focus rather on wild foods and medicinal plants.
So I heard you mention that you make your own manuals and growing manuals, and who is it that you're giving this to? Who are you teaching? Is it the surrounding people? Are you teaching somewhere else?
Yeah, I'm teaching locally and also surrounding areas, and my trainings are not only centered on adult learning but also at schools. So there's different organizations that I partner up with, where we go into schools and we teach permaculture and we teach also medicinal plants, and also sometimes I host my own trainings at my site. And people come from different areas to come and learn about the different topics that we cover, because we cover medicinal plants, we cover agroforestry, agroecology, permaculture, processing food, and also how to make oils from some of the medicinal plants found in the area. So every workshop has its own audience that come through, and we keep a database of the participants that come through. And whenever we have different workshops coming up, we contact them and tell them, okay, we're having this now. Sometimes we also have camp outs that we design, invite different people to come with their tents, and we camp around the fire. That through those camp outs, that's when we focus mostly on wild foods, how to cook them, how to cultivate them, while having jam sessions in the process, because as a young person, I try also to make my trainings as fun as much as I can, to attract the youth to come along also. So that's how my space started up. It started me as a vegetable grower, and with this idea that I want to produce and sell veggies, mostly commercial veggies. And then that developed later on into medicinal plants and later on to also wild foods that grow wild in my community.
That's amazing. I really like that you listened to what was already here.
Yeah.
And didn't try and change it too much. I think you really have to make it as attractive as possible for people and get their interest. And I also like that it happens around the fire. It feels very communal, feels very tribal. Like it used to be before we started eating in front of a television and all these sorts of things. So I really appreciate that. Now, you speak a lot about medicine.
I believe medicine is food, but also we have plants that are medicinal, and also medicine can be spiritual. So being able to come as a collective and motivate each other and engage in different topics that can uplift people spiritually, physically, psychologically. That's medicine also. So medicine can come in different forms. It's not just something that's physical, but it's conversations. Conversations can be medicine also. And that's how I look at medicine holistically. And that's the aim of also creating my space, to have this safe haven for people to come through and just to get away from the buzzes of the city and have a place where they can relax, a place that they can look into nature and try and find themselves, find the child spirit that you have that you always neglect, you know. So that this is what the space is all about. And also I call my space a wild curated space. More than a farm, because once a person hears that name farm, they automatically make their own assumption in terms of how a farm is supposed to look like. So I prefer to call my space a wild curated space. Right now we have issues with people seeing wild foods as poverty foods. We still first need to make people aware that the food is edible and it has different nutrient values and it has different medicinal properties within them. Most of the people which have that indigenous knowledge is elderly people. And there seems to be a gap between the elderly people and the youth in terms of that knowledge. The youth doesn't know the knowledge. Also, the elderly people grew up during the era whereby, as adults, you don't have too much conversations with the youth. So a lot of things were secret, a lot of things that are beneficial and helpful for the community were secrets that they took with them to the grave. So we need to try and fill that gap up so that it's no longer there now. The youth need to realize and know the importance of food, the importance of also wild foods, and how they play an effect in terms of the biodiversity of the area. And also they write a story about what type of people were existing in that area and what type of nutrients were they consuming. So this can tell you a story in terms of my environment. So if you have these basics in your head, doesn't matter where you are on earth, you can always know what type of environment you are at.
And what is my environment telling me?
What the roots of that plant in that environment is telling you about that environment. So this is how our ancestors used to know whether an area is fertile or not for them to migrate to. Because they were nomads. And with me, with my Kwe blood, I resonate with that knowledge a lot.